Metroid Dread, the fifth and final installment in the mainline Metroid franchise, and has been in development hell for longer than Metroid Prime 4 was even announced. But does this game live up? Or is it, dare I say, dreadful? Well, let's find out. Hi guys, DPX here reviewing today Metroid Dread. Now I do want to give a little disclaimer. I've got to record more gameplay than what I have, so I didn't get much gameplay. So you'll probably see a repeat of clips throughout the whole video, or you'll see a lot of footage from my stream playing the game for the first time at the very beginning of the game. But anyways, before we get started, you know what to do. Shake this video, subscribe, and hit the bell and leave a comment, or I'll eat your parents. Because that's what Ridley did to Samus. He ate her parents. Alright, I'm gonna become a giant pterodactyl and eat your parents. You don't want that, do you? The core gameplay of Metroid Dread is quite nice. It's a 2D side-scroller, something of which we barely see nowadays from big AAA studios, and Samus has many cool abilities like the arm cannon, the regular shot, the rocket launcher shot thingy, the morph ball, the screw attack, and more. And I mean more. There's a lot more than that. Seriously, throughout the entire game, you'll unlock more and more abilities. You also have a melee attack, which kind of works as a parry, and it always feels satisfying whenever you hit an enemy with it. In the trailers, they said this should be like a last resort, but honestly, it's cool enough to just do it whenever an enemy comes at you. But I definitely see why, after playing it, I definitely see why it's a last resort. It is also worth noting that this game is surprisingly challenging. The bosses have many patterns and you gotta come up with many different techniques to outsmart them. Not only that, but there are also the Emmys that you either gotta run away from and like hide from and shit, or blow them up depending on the sequence. And it can be stressful. But I mean stressful in the nicest way possible. This is the good kind of stressful, if you know what I mean. It's like Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. The bosses at times did feel a bit much, but at the same time, the game pushes you to your absolute limit, or at least me, and very few games have done that for me lately. Metroid Dread feels smooth and Samus controls very well, and the game overall just feels great. As I mentioned earlier, Metroid Dread, storyline-wise, is a direct sequel to Metroid Fusion. In Metroid Dread, Samus is dispatched to investigate by a currently unknown team and travels to ZDR as the only being in the universe with immunity against the X parasites. Samus seeks to uncover whether they truly exist. Courtesy goes to Metroid Wiki. I didn't really know how else to describe it, which is why I took it from Metroid Wiki. I won't go into any other plot details beyond that, but it's a nice little story. I understand that Metroid has a very strong narrative, or at least more so than most of Nintendo's other franchises, but I don't really play Metroid for the story, at least not first. It's just a nice cherry on top and something I stay for, to me personally. That being said, I am perfectly cool with the story. This is the Other Stuff segment, the segment where I talk about things worth mentioning but not really enough for their own segments. First off, the game looks pretty solid, but the music sucks ass. In fact, very disappointing in that aspect, as Metroid has always had a pretty decent track record when it comes to the soundtrack, but Dread's just doesn't do it for me. Aside from the main theme of this game, which is more or less a remix of the one in Super Metroid, there is nothing memorable here. And also, I wanted to finally touch on whether or not the game is worth the $60, as I finally played it now, and that was a debate since the game came out. And I thought, why are we having this debate now? The game's not even out yet. And to that I say, It absolutely is worth $60. I always think that a game's price should be justified by its length and or content, and while Metroid Dread is a pretty short game in length, it makes up for it in difficulty. And I fucking hate when games are rather short, so they just make the game pure bullshit to make the game seem longer. But first off, Metroid Dread is not pure bullshit, and second off, Metroid Dread does this in a way that feels rewarding and at the end of the day, fair. The progression can be a little annoying too though, like when you don't know where to go, but it's kind of made up for as it gives you an excuse to just explore the many areas and look at how great they look. There is simply just a lot to love in Metroid Dread. Wait, what? That killed me? Okay. In conclusion, Metroid Dread is a fantastic installment in the Metroid franchise that is also surprisingly challenging yet rewarding. Super rewarding. All the different abilities, locations, enemies, the feeling of dread, pun intended, whenever you have to deal with an enemy, all add on to the already great aspects like the story, visuals, and gameplay. Is it the best Metroid? Well, I'm not sure if it's better than Super Metroid or the first Metroid Prime, but do understand that those are some extremely high bars. But aside from those two, this might just be the best Metroid game. That being said, I give Metroid Dread a 9.5 out of 10. You might get a sense of dread while playing, but the experience is the complete opposite of dreadful. And yeah, that's my review for Metroid Dread. Buy this game. Seriously, I don't know if you know this, but Metroid as a franchise typically doesn't sell very well. The best-selling Metroid game is Metroid Prime. The second best-selling Metroid game is Metroid on the NES. Please buy this game so we can get more games like this, more Metroid. And don't pirate it. Fuck Kotaku for trying to pull that shit. Anyways, what do you guys think about Metroid Dread? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you like the game? Do you not like the game? Do you have the game? Do you not have the game? And if you don't have the game, do you want the game? Do you not want the game? Anything about the game, let me know down below. Anyways, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, or again, I'll turn into a giant purple pterodactyl and eat your fucking parents. Bye, guys!